Hey everybody, Questwise here. I'm in the studio tonight, and tonight we're going to go back old school Questwise. We're going to talk about role-playing games. I want to pose to you a question. What was the role-playing game, or what was the game in general that introduced you to the tabletop hobby? If you've watched my channel before, you know the answer to this to me. But if you haven't, I'm going to reiterate it tonight. And you may have guessed by the title of this video what it is exactly that I'm going to talk about tonight. But back in the late 80s, early 90s, I was introduced to role-playing games through a friend of my cousin's. A friend who is still very dear to my heart today. And the game he showed us was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, the role-playing game by Palladium Books. I was blown away. I was a big comic book fan at the time already, and so it was natural to me when we began to explore this game that I was hooked. That I could take the stories that I loved, these ideas of comic book stories, of panels from page to page, and put my own twist on them with a group of friends and create our own mythology. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness. It was a long time ago. And it's back, baby. It's back. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what kind of strings they pulled, but Palladium Books has the license to publish Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, the role-playing game, once again, with the blessing of Kevin Eastman, who was one of the co-creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have, direct from the company, the news release, the press release of what's going to happen with this Kickstarter. And I'm going to read to you from this press release. So this is directly from Palladium Books and Kevin Eastman, the press release of what's going to be happening. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you when you can jump in onto this and how you can, and what's going to be involved in this, how you can be involved in this. I am super excited. I remember sitting in a small sunroom in my aunt's house in a small town called Clio, Michigan. And we began to play this game. And this was a game that sort of blew my mind, unlike any other game I had ever seen before. It wasn't a board game. It wasn't a card game. This was something different. This was something special. Now, a lot of you may say that you were introduced through Dungeons and Dragons, and I get that. My story was a little bit different. I graduated into Dungeons and Dragons a little bit later. But for me, the idea of role-playing games was introduced through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, as well as Ninjas and Super Spies, as well as Heroes Unlimited. And that's the great thing about the Palladium Book stuff, is that it's all playable together. It's blendable. Every rule set they put out is something that you can combine together, and you can use stuff from a variety of different sources. So when I was introduced to this, and I was a comic book fan, but I didn't really know a lot about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or TMNT. But I knew there was something special here. And it wasn't until after I had played that I went and looked into what this phenomena was. If you don't know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was actually started off as kind of a farce. It was kind of a nod to things like Marvel, right? So in Marvel, you had Daredevil, and you had Elektra, and you had the hand ninjas, right? In Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you had these mutant characters who were turtles, but you also had the foot ninja, right? This is sort of nod to things that were a little bit more serious at the time, and they were kind of poking fun at them. But I think that this idea was something that the populace was looking for. This idea of what may have been a farcical sort of look at comic books became something that became far more serious and is still enduring to today. Two men, Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, created this idea that has become so much more than just the two of them. It's been picked up by Nickelodeon, it was picked up by IDW, and of course by Palladium Books, who was very famous for their Rifts role-playing game, which was one of those games that was sort of like everything in the kitchen sink into a role-playing game, let's do it. If you're not familiar with Palladium Books, one of my favorite companies, it doesn't appeal to everybody, and I understand that. It is a very unique system in that it borrows a lot from the D20 system, but it also incorporates a lot of percentile typed dice rolls. Some people say that the rules are too confusing, that they're too hard, that character creation takes too long. But it's very near and dear to my heart because it was the very first game that I ever played. And it will always be one of those things that's very important to me. And I will stand on my deathbed and proclaim Palladium Books. I've been to several events. I was a special guest at one of their Palladium open houses where I was able to document a bunch of the gameplay that was going on, as well as a bunch of interviews. If you want to go back into the history of this channel and check out those interviews, you can do that there. But I really love Palladium Books. And we started off with Heroes Unlimited. We started off with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We started off with Ninjas and Super Spies. And we graduated into Rifts. And I've had some of the best times of my life playing those games. Games that I can remember playing way back in the early 90s. I can still remember very distinct details of each of those games. And I don't know how they were able to pull this off, but they were able to pull it off. And I have the press release right here. So let me read you a little bit up from this press release. And it's so exciting to me. And it's so, if you're a comic book fan, if you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, if you're a role-playing fan, take note. Please sit up in your chair and listen to what I have to say. Westland, Michigan, October 13th, 2023. For those of you watching later, this was yesterday. The beloved out-of-print Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game and its sourcebooks have sought after collector items that have enthralled generations since its release in 1985. As one of the very first licensed TMNT products, they are returning to print as 2 deluxe hardcover collections. That being the main core book and all of the source books. Turtles Go to Hollywood. Gosh, I can't even remember all of them, but there's going to be a plethora of great stuff. Each is being completely remastered by industry veteran Sean Owen Robertson. I have a lot of faith in Sean. I've seen his work before. I know that there's a lot of you out there who say that Palladium is too confusing, it's too crunchy, it's too chaotic. I think Sean is going to take this stuff and blend it in such a way that you will be very happy that you backed this product. It's been presented in full color, which, if you know anything about TMNT, the original stuff by Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, was all black and white, sort of comic strip style comic books, which I love, but I'm excited to see the Turtles in full color in a role-playing game. And Kevin Eastman, reading from the press release, co-creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, will also provide a new painted cover, a preview of which is right here. Bonus material includes an array of new artwork, never before seen behind-the-scenes info and art, plus remembrances and tributes by renowned comic book and RPG creators including Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, Freddie Williams II, one of my all-time favorite artists. I say that unabashedly. I say it as a fanboy. I've met Freddie on several occasions. He's been to local conventions here in my hometown. I've had great conversations with him. I would love to get him on the channel. In fact, he has even offered to be interviewed here on the channel, and I think I may take him up on this because of this and all of his great stuff. If you don't know Freddie Williams, he did things. I was first introduced to Freddie through the Robin comic strip, the sort of the strip that was Batman and Robin, but just Robin, and he did the artwork for that, and it was phenomenal. And a good friend of mine, Rob Humphreys, he was able to go to a convention and get me a signed copy of the very final issue of Robin, done by Freddie Williams. But Freddie Williams has also done some amazing stuff. He's a very big fan of things that's retro, retro sort of cartoon focused things. So he's done the He-Man and Masters of the Universe, the Masters of the Universe and He-Man crossovers with things like Thundercats. He's done Batman, the crossover with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So he has the experience with this type of stuff, and I can't wait to see what Freddie comes up with. You might also recognize the name because Freddie started his career doing freelance artwork for Palladium Books, of all people, right? So if you go to your Riffs hardcover revised edition, you'll see some of his artwork in there, and it's some of my favorite artwork of all time. Stephen Cummings, a dear friend of mine who lives in Japan right now. He has his own very unique take on things. He's going to be involved in this as well. And Kevin Eastman. So we're going to see new original art, if that makes any sense to you at all. We're going to see new art by Kevin Eastman of his co-creation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm beyond ecstatic about this. I'm super excited about this. Let me read you this quote from Kevin Eastman from the press release and what he says about this product and about this Kickstarter. This is incredibly exciting, he says. I am 1,000% on board, and to help bring this historic and original TMNT role-playing game series back in a truly deluxe collector's edition that will thrill original fans and open the door for new ones. I've made my archives. I've made all my archives available for the expanded behind-the-scenes content, as well as a few top secret surprises you need to be part of. Wow. I love the fact that he's beyond ecstatic, 1,000% on board, that he's beyond excited to be a part of this project and to provide artwork to Palladium Books for this Kickstarter. I can't wait to see exactly what comes out of this. The Kickstarter campaign starts October 31st, and it will run until November something, 18th, I believe. But you want to jump on this right away. In the notes down below, I will provide the link to the Kickstarter thing that you can click the button to be notified of this when it goes live. You are going to want to be a part of this. If you're a Ninja Turtle fan, if you are at all a comic book fan, if you are a tabletop role-playing fan, this game was, to me, revolutionary. It was a game that sort of brought me, it cemented what I am today. What became the Questwise channel eventually was born years ago in the late 80s, early 90s when I was introduced to this game. If you enjoy my content, I think this is something you're going to want to sit up and take notice of. It also says in here that all products will be shipped in 2024. So obviously they're working on this since we are already in October of 2023. So this is obviously something that's been worked on for quite a while. Once the Kickstarter concludes, I'm assuming probably second, maybe third quarter of 2024. But it's going to happen, folks. It is going to happen. So I hope that you're as excited about this as I am. This is going to be an amazing Kickstarter. I have a feeling this is going to probably fund within a couple of hours. The return of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, the role-playing game. It's back, baby. It's back. And I couldn't be more excited about it. I hope you are too. Until next time, I'm Questwise. I hope that you're all being safe. I hope that you're all well. And until next time, as always, game on, my friends.